share tools and stories from other changemakers designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runemagnus.com/podcast. And now it is time for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Back here from the Changemakers podcast, and I got goosebumps down my spine when I think about my guest today, a very beautiful woman that has come my way, I don't know, for some years now that we met. Shay Allie from the UK. She is, I don't really know where to start. Because we're going to be talking about no more boxes, Shay, I think I'm not going to put you into any box. I'm just going to think I have the most brilliant woman in front of me, a human being that has so many things going for her, and she is actually handling them all. Shay, welcome to the Changemakers podcast.
Thank you. I'm honoured to be here, and it's what a brilliant and beautiful woman I have in front of me as well. I just love what you're doing with this.
Thank you. Now, just to give you one of the boxes that Shay is for me. It's like I have to talk about boxes. So we are both part of the Network for Transformational Leaders, which is a platform for people in the transformational work coming together, have fun, grow, learn from each other, and really have a space to be, which is so important. And in that space where we have created, where we can be who we really are fully, you get to know people in a very intimate way. You get to know, we open up for our souls, don't we? And I think that's something that that's one of the things that we have in common, to see how people can in fact do that on a day-to-day level, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about your story, Shay.
Okay, so I guess, when I was growing up, I'll start when I was about 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I used to see kids getting teased in the playgrounds, and I used to get teased myself as well. And obviously nobody likes being teased.
No.
I thought, and I was very shy at the time, but I thought, I want to be the woman that knows what to say. And I want to be the woman that if you don't know what to say, I know how to say it on your behalf. And I know how to defend that person that's weak and vulnerable. And I used to see those kids that at the time, to me, that looked really clever, what they would say in response. They knew exactly the quickest, wittiest response to say in response to the teasing. And so the obvious career choice was, I'm going to be a barrister. For anyone that's out there in the States who doesn't know what a barrister is, it's basically an attorney that goes to court. So yeah, that's what I did. Now, some people, again, the boxes start when you're really little as well. Some people go, oh, but you're really shy. How can you stand up in court and defend people? Or as I got older and went to university and I let that go, it was, some tutors going, well, 25% of people who want to do this actually get their training. And then out of that, an even lesser percentage get to stay in the industry. My friends used to say to me, oh, did you hear Professor so-and-so say this? And I said, no.
You chose not to hear it.
I chose not to hear it. I thought, I'm going to go for it anyway. And a lot of people that I went to university with then went for safer careers. I did not. And basically, it just all came in flow. I was very lucky. I got my training based on, I really got on with this person in one of my work experiences, and he was a barrister. And he was so lovely to me, and it was around Christmas time, and I went to him and I said, look, my family is Portuguese, and I've bought you this Portuguese Christmas cake to share with your family. And I thought nothing of it. It wasn't, a bribe to get a job or anything. 2 years later, they wrote to me and they said, this guy was called Martin. Martin was really impressed with you. Would you like to come in for an interview? And they had 200 applicants, 2 places, most of whom I would imagine are from Oxford and Cambridge University. I wasn't either. And it's still one of the leading chambers in the UK. It's the number 1 set for employment law.
Wow.
And I got my training. You know.
Wow.
So, you know, the first thing I'd say is, no matter what box people try and put you in, like the shy box or the it's too hard box, well, don't listen.
Definitely, yeah. It sounds like being that importance to be aware of. You can actually choose to listen or not.
Yeah.
Am I going to listen to this box? Is being what you're just saying, that urge that you felt that you want to be able to speak for yourself and speak for others and defend others was bigger than that.
Yeah, definitely.
And now today, I know Shay and I, we were sharing a journey in California earlier this year with the 4 divas. Talking about putting us into a box of divas. And we were doing events in California called From Warrior to Warrior. And there, I thought it was so lovely how you broke the box when you were introducing yourself, because you said why don't you just tell us, how do you introduce yourself today? Because you have, like I said, you have so many things, and you're like, I'm not going to be that one thing. I am it all. Yeah.
Well, when Gina was naming us all, she named me the legal charisma coach, legal diva.
Yeah,
my title. And then someone after my talk came up to me and said, "Why were you called that? You should have been the multifaceted diva."
Yeah, and tell us why. Because you're the dash.
Yeah, so I'm the typical slashy, is what I ended up saying. I learnt this new Australian term. Flashy. Everyone's learnt something new today. So I have my own law firm, Allie and Hume Associates, a wonderful business partner who I'm just going to acknowledge. He is so amazing. Thomas Hume I'm very blessed to have him in my life. Now, other than that, what got me into the transformational work? Well, a lot of things, but what I do around it now, the main thing is run Inspired Stage, which is a well-known personal development event in London. And I've been running that for over 4 years now, bringing some of the best and newest to the bright lights of Mayfair. So Mayfair is, if you think of your Monopoly board at home, that's the one that was the most expensive place to
I like that.
And you know what? Even if people come from backgrounds which are not, I go out in Mayfair, it's lovely to open their minds to that sort of abundance and be like, yeah, I can be here and I can belong and I can make Mayfair feel really safe.
Yeah.
And Mayfair is very special to me too, because I went to school there. In fact, where I have my venue was around the corner from my first school.
Yeah.
You know, it was like coming home.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I do that.
Yeah.
And then I also love the stage. So I take the stage in 2 capacities at the moment. I sing and write songs. So really enjoy that. And I get a lot, hey, you look like Amy Winehouse. So maybe not right now.
Well, people are not going to see your beautiful face because this is just a recording. But nevertheless,
Nevertheless. Well, yeah, you can check out some of my pictures.
Yeah, they can see it in the show notes for sure. Yeah, and you do look like Amy Winehouse. Yeah.
So, I mean, that made obvious sense to take the stage in that way. And then, yeah, I'm on an improv team, which is not a business, but I very much, who doesn't need to laugh in life? And those guys are amazing. So, every time I rehearse with them or perform with them, that just gets the laughter going, which is and I think improv was a great thing to learn, particularly in the context of being a barrister.
Yeah.
And learning to think on your feet and doing something, as scary. People find improv scary.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when you, I mean, you are, I think this is so beautiful, and I think this is so inspiring to have as a profession, something that I think most of us really put people into a certain box, that if you are a barrister, an
Yeah.
attorney,
Yeah.
you are this.
Yeah.
Well, you are really showing us that you can be fantastic. This can be a skill, and this can be experience. This can be the knowledge that you have, that it's fantastic. But you must be doing it. Now, here is my thinking coming in. You must be a barrister that is inspiring. Do you actually put up, do you put this up, do you sing on
No.
in court or tell jokes?
What I do though is, you know, my dad had all the Tony Robbins tapes when I was growing up. So when I was that shy 15-year-old, I used to listen to Tony Robbins and his power talks, and, you know, use that in the evening to build myself up. And so that was where the passion for transformational work came in.
Yeah.
And after I'd qualified as a barrister, I then went and qualified as a coach. Because, not really because I wanted to work as a coach at the time, it was because I thought, well, I want these tools to be able to work on myself whenever I need them. And then I was pretty good at it when I did the training. So, and actually this was the thing through my 20s, I spent some time trying to make that work. I wrote 2 books. And I tried to build that as a business, and nothing was quite flowing, to be honest, in that sense. And, you know, I was more susceptible to people starting to put me into a box. So they're like, well, do you want to be a lawyer, or do you want to give up the law? Surely you're not really passionate about law. Nobody's passionate about law. But then I don't know what it was, but one day it hit me. It's like, do you know what? Yes, I am. I really enjoy representing the people that I represent. I really enjoy making a difference in people's lives every day when they're going through some of the most difficult and traumatic emotional times in their life.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to take that away from me. I have a skill that's able to help them. And I don't want to let go of the coaching either. You know, maybe I don't have to work as a traditional model of a coach, but you know, as I say, what I do now is I've got Inspired Stage, but in that medium, obviously I help people. You know, people are coming to me that are scared to get on stage. So I can help them with that, and one of my books is based on that. It's called How to Be Captivating. And you know, the people that I'm working with in the law, well, I can use those skills. I'm not going to do a formal coaching session with them, but all those tools and techniques that I learned, you know, really
communication tools, really,
it makes them feel good. There's a reason that I'm busy, and every time, so I have certain people that get me work. One of them always says about me is, she's really down to earth, she's easy to talk to, you know, don't worry about your problem, she'll make you feel better about it. You know?
Exactly.
And a lot of barristers, you know, that's not the first thing you'd say about a barrister. So, you know, how do you think people feel when they're going through a divorce, or they've lost their child, or they've lost their job, and they come to someone? They could either come to someone who's very strict and firm with them, or they could come to someone that knows how to talk to them, knows how to understand and maybe help them, or give them a little tool that they can use to feel better, and who's able to represent them in court. It's quite a powerful combination.
It is a very powerful, and that is your brand. Speaking of personal branding, that's what you become known for. And having the courage to really stand by yourself as you are standing by your clients and with your clients, and it makes you already unique. But I'm sure that it isn't easy for everyone to understand and really take their head around the fact that you are everything. And you feel people want to put you into that one particular box.
Yeah. So I was sharing with you just before we started this recording that 2 nights ago, I went to have some music, as you do. And this lady approached me, and the first thing she said is, "Oh, wow, you look like Amy Winehouse." She's like, as soon as you walk down those stairs, that's what I thought. And she's like, "Do you sing?" And I said, yeah, I do, and I write some stuff. And she said, wow, like, I'd love to listen to you. And, I'm trying to transition into singing, but I'm a carer. And, do you do anything else? And I said, yeah, I have my own law firm. And she's like, oh, yeah, but you want to give that up to be a singer, right? And I'm like, no. She said, and she said, one day you're going to have to choose. And I said, well, who made that rule?
I love that. Who made that rule?
And I won't tell you what I actually said, but I said, that is blank.
And what was the reaction when the blank came out?
She's like, wow, I love that. She said, I really love that.
Yeah.
And then I shared with her, yeah, in my 20s, people used to tell me these things. And I used to think that was true. And it's about standing up for who you are and owning it with confidence. Because I tell you what, when you say something with confidence, no one's going to question you.
Yep.
And I'll be like, yeah, okay.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And she set you free. And at the same time, you set her free from that belief that everyone has to have that one thing.
Yeah. I hope so. Because she was such a beautiful woman that wanted to sing, and she had to look after her mum. And, I hope that that's inspired her to go, you can write and sing, and you can look after your mum.
Yeah, exactly. I thank you for sharing that, and thank you for pointing that out. That actually, when you say that, I think that so many of us living our life with one day, I'm going to do that. When this has happened, or when that has happened, then I'm going to do that. Where really you can be fulfilled, and
you can do it now.
You can do it now. Yeah. And just make up your own mind of when do you want to feel the feeling that you're doing it. Does it take 5 minutes? Does it take 10 minutes? Does it take, when you go into that whole thing, I don't have time excuse. Shay. This is so good. So talking about boxes, and I think I've often wondered really regarding, I mean, you've been very aware of how people are putting you into boxes. For many, I think it's difficult when you're so used to being in a situation, you're so used to getting that reaction from people. How would you say, what could people do to understand their box and how their box is limiting them?
I think there's a few things you can do. Both of them sort of a bit coachy, I suppose. One of them, my favorite, is to understand who your higher self is. Yeah. So, the one of the easiest ways to do that, if you've never thought about that, is to go into yourself. And I would say take a few minutes, calm the mind. There are many ways to do that. Breathing is a great way to calm the mind. Imagine breathing in light. Or, the first way I learned how to do that is just look at a candle. If you can't focus, and just look at the candle flame and notice its colours and how it's moving. And I think it's a great way to start silencing the mind. So silence the mind, and then draw your attention up to your mind's eye, which is somewhere in my forehead, I guess. Think about who is the best, beautifulest, and that's not even a word, but you know what I mean, and the most radiant version of you, that version of you that God intended to put onto this planet. And just look at him or her and look into that soul's eyes and see what you see in there. That's then your spirit at its purest, and who you're really meant to be. And mine happens to love variety. And that's it, and then just taking it back to people who like a more practical form. There's a very well-known coaching exercise called Finding Your Core Values. And you think about, it's easier to do this with someone else, and think about, what are the most important things to you in life? So maybe pick 10 things that are, your soul thinks, right, this is really important to me. And then the exercise works like this. You pitch them against each other. So say 2 of your core values are family and work.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll think, well, which of those two is more important to me?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you pick family.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one of your values could be sports. So which is more important to me, family or sports?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you pick family again. So family's gone top of the list. And then you pitch the other values against each other. So go on, what's more important out of work and sports? Sports.
Mm-hmm.
So now your hierarchy of values is family, sports, work,
Yeah.
for example. So you do this with about 10.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that gets you to elicit that hierarchy and a bit of a roadmap to how maybe you live your life. Now, this isn't exactly what should I do for a living, but it will give you a really good clue. And guess what? Variety is quite high on that list for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It's not going to be for everybody, but if you are a slashy, then go and own it.
Yeah, exactly. Be a slushy. Be a slushy. Yeah. And I agree with you. I remember the last time I went through this exercise myself, and freedom became number one.
Yeah.
And that 2 days later, I took my freedom. I saw my box was, I wasn't giving myself the freedom that I wanted. So I could actually change that. But at first stage is always awareness.
Yeah.
Around where am I really? And what is serving me? And how can I serve?
Yeah.
So if that is stopping me from serving, you can always do something, even though there are just tiny steps. I so agree with you.
Yeah.
Shay, you are such a wonderful slushy barrister, singer, joker, inspired speaker, whatever. You're just a beautiful human being. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your profound insight on the Changemakers podcast.
No problem. It's been such a pleasure. And we'll end with the final thought, actually. Sometimes that slashy status, whatever you are, can actually bring you some amazing opportunities. So one thing I'll end on is, you know, because I was a lawyer and a coach, I got headhunted to be part of this international mediation team. And they were looking for someone who was a lawyer or a coach. Or a mediator.
Yeah.
And I came along and they're like, oh, well, we'll take you.
Exactly. There is a space for all of us, a good space. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Thank you for ending with that one.
No problem. Just be who you are.
Value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify. And remember, you can always go to runamagnus.com and find out more about the Changemakers and how we can help you driving the change you want to see in your world.